All right. Easy come, easy go. Little high, little low. Any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me. Mama, I killed a man. All right. So, here we are together again. Lots of minor technical glitches to weed out those viewers who are not committed to the experience. Oh man. Well, I've got a lot to think about, and I have had a lot to think about for a long time. And I've done a lot of thinking about it. And I've learned something about myself, which is that I can speak my mind. I can speak my mind with as much gentleness and kindness as I can. And depending on the subject, thank you, Tommy, for being down in the basement with me. Depending on the subject, that can go over one way or the other, whatever. There's a whole spectrum. But how things go over can't matter. Jesus said for us that we were the salt of the earth. And he said, salt that loses its saltiness is no good for anything but to be thrown out and trampled by men. And I've had to count the cost of this in my life because somehow I find myself intolerant of certain things, and I have to speak up. And this intolerance is controversial, but only because people make it controversial. It is difficult to understand my post yesterday. I said it was an angry post, and I think you could tell by my smile that it was the kind of, how are we 30 years in and we haven't, right now I've got lots of feedback, and I have to say that the upshot of the feedback I'm getting is that I don't see any way forward but to double, triple, quadruple down and completely be and do what best I can figure out I should be and do. So this morning I thought we'd do a little palate cleanser and try not to let... I was laying on my bed this morning and I thought, I poked and I thought, no, it's not a bear. I poked the walrus. Not a person in specific, but it's like a walrus. It's big and scary. It's got like huge teeth. It can't run fast, but you don't want to touch it. And I thought, well, I've got a nice long pole. Not just the physical distance of my shop here. In fact, the physical distance of my shop hasn't done me much good in the past. I've been surrounded, and you guys probably have some inkling. It's public court record. You could just look up the court case on all the stuff that's gone on. The court case is actually only a tiny bit of what's gone on, and I'm pretty certain that I'll have more of that in my life as the acolytes of the mainstream tend to do what they do. Back in 2014, 15, 16, being blacklisted all the way up into Indiana, that one was specifically about honesty in advertising. That was what broke the camel's back. They called me a person who talks crap, and they said that when it comes to crap talking, there's a better, more clear term for that. But when it comes to crap talking, it can be hard to tell who's a crap talker and who is just talking about all this crap that's making, it's making the kids sick. It's compromising the inspiration. It's choking down the amount of information we can get and the kind of conversation we can have about it. And that's where I really I'll use this word, and I think you should think about it. I'm contentious. I'm not contentious in a belligerent way, but I'm contentious in as much as I will contend to you, dear skateboarding, that you push a lot of like information at us, and a lot of it is very sales driven. We have a lot of lore, we have a lot of information, we have a lot of personalities, and it's all sales driven. And I actually am, I've been playing with if I have a place in the industry, and I'm not sure that I can own that, and we'll see how things work out. But it's one thing to have a lot of sales talk going on and a lot of claims and a lot of things like that. A lot of it is just innocuous, I'm interested in knowing things, but then when you hit a point where you ask a question and you say, is it just me, or is the emperor not wearing any clothes? And all of a sudden, you've got 100 swords pointed at you, and you realize like, oh, the real issue isn't some small point of information. The real issue is that you're not allowed to talk. And a lot of people, this quote from Jesus, I said, that where he says, "You're the salt of the earth. If salt loses its saltiness, it's no good but to be trampled by men." Is really a thing that I think about a lot. I did a post yesterday that was specifically, kind of definitely calling out a very powerful, highly influential, mainstream claim by a good person who I like, but who occupies a public place. And we're all in a period of testing. Can we have disagreements with civility and clarity? Can a person come out and say something and another person come out and say, "Oh, I think that person's wrong"? Well, I've learned something in the last couple of days. We can definitely do that about me. It's definitely cool to say that Lou is wrong, and I am not interested in any takedowns, and I'm not going to punish anyone. If I see you at a spot and you said, "Oh, I don't like what Lou said, I think Lou's off base, or I think he's a kook," go much further than that. And I do think that we're going to need reconciliation. I do think that there's a point you can cross where you go from the thing I said to who I am. And when you start to attack who I am, we're going to need reconciliation after that. That's going to be important. But reconciliation is easy. I can actually do it alone. I could just choose to say, that doesn't matter to me. And we move on. That's easy. I can do reconciliation all alone. I can say, yeah, fine, no problem. I've done 10 worse things to 100 other people than say they're a kook or call them a name. Don't make fun of my wife. Don't make fun of my mother. But if you did, there's nothing I can do about it. But that's bad form. Now, let's talk about this LuchaSkate article I ran into. I loved it. Luchaskate.com article about street survival from February 7th, 2021. For those of you who haven't seen it, Street Survival, a how-to street skateboard video produced in the late 80s, is a YouTube search away. As soon as you finish reading it, search it out. The skating in this video shows the real roots of street, and then he delineates several points. Vert bowl ditch skating without any vert bowl or ditch to skate. Freestyle on big boards. Skating in the street. Just going out and riding a skateboard in the street. Street Survival is for many of us, it will be almost unwatchable. It does feature my dear friend Bill Danforth, how is he not more controversial? Man, that guy's got a lot of texture. And I don't know if Danforth coined Street Survival. I do know that the video has him saying Street Survival. It's very 80s. There are a lot of people who had to say a lot of things. I still don't understand why they would want to run through a graveyard. But it really fed us kids, whether it was seen as kitschy or not. No matter how you feel about 1980s kitsch, This kind of video was a big deal to a lot of people. So at least in watching it, you may be disgusted about the skating or you might be totally stoked. That's your right, and nobody can take that away from you. But at least you'll know what... Yeah, Tommy Story says, yeah, it's a classic. You know, this kind of video is a part of why guys like me don't do a lot of the things that are being done and don't chase a lot of the things that are going down. It's not that we don't appreciate those things, but we're actually stuck in that. And this helps you see, in luchaskate.com, helps you see that to us, that's not such a bad thing to be stuck in. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but there are like DIYs in cities, like beautiful indoor things, like only have a few members, and they won't let someone in. They won't let someone into the DIY because they're from this era and they don't do the requisite tricks. I know of 2 major cities where you can't get an invite to come to the DIY because they don't want you stinking up the... Jeffrey Huang, I see your comment. Appreciate you, brother. God bless you. I think you get it. Street Survival and Lucha Skate do a cool thing there. I did notice that Gina Carano got kicked off of The Mandalorian. And I was like, dude, why are they kicking Gina Carano off The Mandalorian? She must have done something so terrible. So I'm in the middle of my media creation stuff, talking to you guys, and I'm not going to stop talking to you like I talk to you. And I see that Gina Carano got kicked off. I like Gina Carano. Did you ever see the movie Haywire? She's one of the few female actress martial artists who I really, man, she just is putting it straight down the pipe, you know, and I just love her work. She's really a strong martial artist. And I was like, wow, they fired her? And so I was like, what'd they fire her for, man? So I went and I looked at what she did. And I was like, you know, wow. And that concludes my words about the Gina Carano situation. You can interpret it how you need to for now. All right, next, I'm not gonna lie, this picture showed up. This is from Tommy Story's feed. Tommy Story did a Throwback Thursday, and you might not be able to see it very well, but that's me. That's Floyd Howard Pruitt, me, Tommy Story, and Mike. That's us sitting on the ramp in Florida. That's at the Bradenton Park, and it is it's awesome. Kevin Culver just said, I want to hug this picture. And I agree. There's always going to be, yeah, that was 2018. There's always going to be a lot of effervescence around the opinions I share and also the information that I disseminate. Some of the information I disseminate is formative. Some of it's grist for the mill. Very little of it is authoritative. Often will springboard off of public things and give you a take on them. But I would encourage you to take the things I say, not with a grain of salt, although the pun is good. I would encourage you to take them as part of your individual process of evaluation and decision making. But I was really happy to see a comment today that says, Lou has never, not once, made me feel dumb or been combative whenever we discuss things he knows way more about than I do. But I have strong opinions about. That to me is one of the most sacred things. That was a comment that I thought, okay, so that helped to ground me, because a lot of things are going to go on. I'm definitely what I did yesterday and what I'm responsible for having done yesterday is I put up I called it an angry video. Because I lack tolerance for, we're at 20%. I lack tolerance for the industry making claims that are mostly advertising. And I have a very strong inner passion for the rise of the maker-made skateboards. I think that it would be very, very good if 30% of the market were that relationship between a skater and their regional or favorite national maker. That is just something I think is so wholesome and really speaks to the heart of what I love about skateboards. I love great skateboard decks. I can skate trackers, I can skate thunders, I can skate aces, I can skate indies, I can skate just about any wheel out there. I have my preferences. Bearings, you know, just grease them and go. I've had bad bearings before, and I just bought some more for $15. But I'd be willing to shuck out $150 for a skateboard deck that really is good. There's something about the deck. And that's my own personal fabric, and you may share that, and then that might make what I say interesting to you. But sharing my opinions about those things will probably cost me it won't cost me my health. The more I share my opinions, the more healthy I feel. But yeah, I had a great conversation with a guy yesterday. Enjoyed looking through a bunch of stuff on YouTube yesterday. And I think I'll conclude with this. I don't think that anything's going to be real terrible in the coming days for me. But I know that I'm going to continue to speak out about things I see, stuff I think. And we're going to have times when we disagree, dear listener or dear watcher. If you find it unpleasant, then you probably should cleanse me from your life and relegate me to the listenings of other people. But if you like what I'm saying, or you like the stuff that what I say stimulates within you, then go for it. I'm going to keep doing it. So I will be back later today with a little bit more, and we'll talk about a few things and some stuff. I am not making anything today here in the workshop, but I am drinking coffee and thinking big thoughts. And I think it's possible that I'll have to revisit a couple things, and maybe yeah, it's possible we'll have to have a few more chats this week. I'll talk to you soon, friends. Thanks.